Hey gardening friends, ready to grow healthier plants, bigger harvests, and smarter gardens? Let's get started.
You did everything right. You picked out a healthy plant, you dug the hole with care, you've been watering it faithfully all season long. So why is it still just sitting there, refusing to give you a single bloom? What if the real problem isn't something you're doing wrong above the ground at all, but something silently going wrong 6 inches beneath your feet, where you can't even see it? Welcome to The Smart Gardener. If this is your first time joining us, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now, because every week we bring you practical, no-nonsense gardening guidance you won't find anywhere else. Here's a truth nobody hands you at the garden center when you're loading that hydrangea into your cart. This plant is not difficult. It is, however, extremely particular about a handful of details, and most people are unknowingly breaking one or several of those rules from the very first day, without ever realizing it. So today, we're walking through 8 of the most costly hydrangea mistakes out there, including one that even seasoned, lifelong gardeners are still getting wrong, year after year. By the time we're done, you'll know exactly what's been quietly working against your blooms, and more importantly, exactly what to change starting today. Mistake number 1. Planting in the wrong light, but probably not in the way you'd expect. Everyone's heard the phrase partial shade tossed around for hydrangeas, and most people interpret that backwards. Morning sun is gentle, low in intensity, and your hydrangea genuinely loves it. It dries the dew off the leaves, which cuts down on fungal disease, and it actually triggers stronger blooming. Afternoon sun, especially anything after 2 o'clock, is the real enemy here. It wilts the leaves, bleaches the color right out of the flowers, and stresses the plant so badly that it pulls all its energy away from forming buds in the first place. The spot you want is east-facing, somewhere that gives the plant 3 to 5 hours of direct morning light, while shielding it from that brutal afternoon heat. And here's a detail most people never hear. If you're gardening in zones 7 through 9, this rule isn't optional, it's essential. But if you're up in zones 4 through 6, your big leaf hydrangea can actually handle sun all day long as you're willing to water it more often to keep up. Mistake number 2. Digging the hole too deep. Hydrangea roots concentrate almost entirely in the top 6 to 12 inches of soil, which happens to be exactly where the oxygen and the beneficial microbes live. Plant any deeper than that, and you create 2 problems at once. Water pools around the base and invites rot, while the roots themselves slowly suffocate from lack of oxygen. The fix is simple but precise. The top of the root ball should sit about 1 inch above the surrounding soil line. Dig your hole 2 to 3 times wider than the root ball, but never deeper than the root ball itself, and blend your backfill with about 30% compost. Mistake number 3. Watering often, but shallow. Frequent, shallow watering trains the roots to stay lazy near the surface. So the moment a real heat wave hits, that surface soil dries out fast, and your plant wilts almost overnight, not because it's thirsty, but because those shallow roots simply can't keep up. Instead, water deeply, once or twice a week, soaking down 6 to 12 inches, which forces the roots to grow deeper and stronger over time. And here's a number worth remembering. A 2 to 3 inch layer of mulch can cut moisture evaporation by as much as 70%, which means fewer watering days and a far more resilient plant. Now, mistake number 4 might just be the single biggest reason your hydrangea refuses to bloom, and once you understand it, you'll never make this mistake again. Hydrangeas fall into 2 camps. Some bloom on old wood, meaning growth from last year, and others bloom on new wood, meaning growth from this current season. Big leaf, oak leaf, mountain, and climbing hydrangeas all bloom on old wood. Their flower buds actually form back in late summer of the previous year, just sitting there dormant, waiting for next season. So if you prune these in fall, winter, or even early spring, you are physically cutting off the very buds that were about to become your flowers. The only safe window is right after the blooms fade in summer. And even then, the technique matters. Cut down to the first firm, healthy bud pair, and stop there. Never lower. Smooth hydrangeas, like the popular Annabelle variety, along with panicle hydrangeas, bloom on new wood instead, which means you can prune them hard in late winter or early spring and actually encourage bigger, fuller flower heads. And if you're not entirely sure what type you're growing, reblooming varieties offer a built-in safety net, since they flower on both old and new wood, giving you far more flexibility with the pruning shears. Mistake number 5. Circles around fertilizer, specifically using the wrong type at the wrong time. The most damaging version of this mistake is applying a high nitrogen fertilizer late in the season. Nitrogen pushes out soft, tender growth right when the plant should be hardening off for winter, and that tender growth gets killed by the first frost. For old wood bloomers, that's not just cosmetic damage, that's losing next year's entire flower display. Newly planted hydrangeas shouldn't be fertilized at all in their first year, since young roots are still settling in and burn easily. And here's one people overlook constantly. High nitrogen lawn fertilizer drifting near the root zone is often the silent culprit behind a hydrangea that's lush and leafy but never flowers. For big leaf varieties chasing that perfect bloom color, here's the chemistry in plain terms. High phosphorus blocks aluminum uptake, pushing blooms toward pink. Low phosphorus paired with acidic soil under a pH of 5.5 releases that aluminum, producing blue. Fertilizer and soil pH have to be managed together, not separately. Mistake number 6 is something most people treat as purely cosmetic: skipping the mulch layer or applying it the wrong way. For hydrangeas, mulch isn't decoration, it's survival. Their roots sit shallow in the soil, which makes them especially vulnerable to temperature swings in both directions. A 2 to 3 inch layer of organic mulch can drop summer soil temperatures by 8 to 28 degrees Fahrenheit, cut moisture evaporation by up to 70%, and reduce those damaging freeze and thaw cycles in winter, the ones that literally heave shallow roots right out of the ground, by as much as 70% as well. If you're gardening in a colder region, zones 5 or 6, increase that mulch depth to a full 6 inches once the first hard frost arrives. Just don't rush it. Mulching too early while the soil is still warm can actually invite fungal disease instead of preventing it. And here's the mistake almost everyone makes without realizing it: piling mulch up against the stem like a little volcano. That traps moisture right where you don't want it, and it opens the door to rot and pests. Mistake number 7 isn't about technique at all. It's about patience. And it might be the hardest lesson of all. Hydrangeas go through an establishment period. In that first year, sometimes stretching into the second, the plant is putting almost all of its energy underground, quietly building out its root system instead of producing flowers. Getting little to nothing from your hydrangea that first season is completely normal. It doesn't mean you did something wrong, and it certainly doesn't mean the plant is defective. It simply means it's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing before it's ready to perform for you. The gardeners who end up with the most spectacular blooms are the ones who resist the urge to over-fertilize or over-prune out of frustration, and instead just give the plant the time it needs. And finally, mistake number 8, one that almost nobody talks about, yet it quietly devastates hydrangea growers in colder climates every single year. Big leaf hydrangeas form their flower buds back in late summer, buds that sit dormant on bare stems through the entire winter, waiting for spring. When temperatures drop to 10 or even 20 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit, combined with harsh, drying winter winds, those buds can be killed off completely, even while the plant itself survives just fine. Come spring, you'll see plenty of healthy green leaves and not a single flower. The solution is straightforward. Once the plant has fully dropped its leaves, build a simple protective cage using chicken wire. Pack it loosely with dry leaves or straw, and wrap the outside with burlap. Remove it gradually in spring as the buds begin to swell. The good news is, panicle and smooth hydrangeas don't need any of this protection at all, since their buds form fresh each spring on new wood. So let's bring it all together. Place your hydrangea on the east side, away from that harsh afternoon sun. Plant it just a touch high to protect the crown. Water deep and infrequent, never shallow and constant. Know exactly which type you're growing before those pruning shears ever touch a branch. Feed it the right fertilizer at the right time of year. Mulch it properly, never piled against the stem. Give it the time it needs to truly establish itself. And if you're in a colder climate, protect those flower buds through the winter months. Fix those 8 things, and you might just be amazed at what your hydrangea was capable of all along. If this video helped you out, go ahead and hit that like button and drop a comment below letting us know which hydrangea variety you're growing. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we've got plenty more practical, no-nonsense gardening guides coming your way. See you in the next one.